Hi everyone, hope you're having a good week and keeping well, and you've managed to get all stocked up with everything that you need before tomorrow. So Vayeira begins with the story of Avraham recuperating from having had bris milah aged 99, and he's sitting in his tent. And we all know the story. He's got this very special tent. It's open on all four sides so that he doesn't miss out on any guests. He can see them coming from all directions. So the opening line is Vayeira Elav Hashem, that Hashem appears to him. And Rashi explains that Hashem is visiting Avraham to do Bikur Cholim, to wish him better. And suddenly, whilst Avram's still in the middle of speaking to Hashem, he sees three men in the distance, and he straight away runs out to meet them and invites them in. So Rashi explains that these three men were really three malachim, three angels, and they were disguised as men, and they'd come to visit Avraham because they had three separate jobs to do. There was Raphael, who had come to heal Avraham. There was the angel Gabriel, who was to go on from there, from his visit to Avraham, and he was the one who was going to destroy Sodom. And then there was Michael, who was going to announce to Avraham and Sarah that they would finally be blessed with a child. Now, remember, this was in the days before they had clear blue. So a message from an angel was basically their equivalent of a positive pregnancy test. So clear blue is 99% accurate up to 3 days before you're due, and these malachim are actually 100% accurate 3 months before, because lo and behold, as promised a whole year later, Sarah does give birth to Yitzchak. Now, whilst the malach is telling Avram about what's going to happen, Sarah is inside her tent and she's listening by the door. And the Mefarshim say that that day she'd actually started menstruating for the first time after going through menopause. And, she'd been trying to work out what was going on. You know what it's like. You're not really expecting it, and then you're a bit thrown. Is it a period? Is it just spotting? What does it mean? What's going on? So she's already had to come to terms with the fact that she's no longer able to have children. She's adjusted her expectations accordingly. And, she's decided maybe she's going to adopt or something. They haven't quite worked it out yet. And then she starts to bleed. And then this random man, who she's never seen before, suddenly is wishing her b'sha'a tova. So what does Sarah do? She literally bursts out laughing. She's cracking up, saying, I'm 89, I'm past my menopause. And no offence, but Avram's really old. I've dreamed of this my whole life, but I've entirely given up hope of this ever happening. And now you're telling me this is really happening. I'm going to have a baby. And then Hashem says to Avraham, why is Sarah laughing? Hayepale me Hashem dava. Hashem says, is anything too wondrous for Hashem? Is what he asks Avraham. So, to recap what we've said so far, we have Hashem visiting Avraham. Avraham stops talking to Hashem when he sees the three angels, looks after them instead, and then they give the news to Avraham and Sarah, and then Hashem, who seemingly has been there listening in the whole time, overhears Sarah laughing. And then he joins in the conversation and says in the third person for dramatic effect, why is Sarah laughing? Is anything too wondrous for Hashem? Now, I want to know, if Hashem's already there talking to Avraham, why does he send these three angels to tell them the news? And if Hashem wants them to tell the news, why does he hang around and rejoin the conversation at the end? So, to answer this, I want us to think for a minute, what is actually the point of all these stories that we hear about in Bereshis, about all of our Avos and Imahos? Why are they even included in the Torah? There aren't any mitzvahs contained within them. Why couldn't we just have been presented with the Shulchan Aruch? Everything that you need to know to live a Torah life, a list of all the mitzvahs. So the reason I think is that it's not really what the Torah is. It's not just a checklist of all the things you should and shouldn't be doing. It's about the everyday details of your everyday life that take place around all those mitzvahs. It's about how you think and how you feel and how you react. It's about what makes you happy and what makes you sad, what makes you laugh, what makes you cry. When we read these stories about our forefathers and mothers, we're meant to connect to them, to connect to the actual people, as real people, as characters that really existed, to relate to them in a very real way. And the reason it's all written down in the Torah is for the sake of us, the reader, so that, all these years later on, we can read it and connect to the stories in different ways. And, at different points in your life, it's going to mean something different to you. And you'll always find some kind of personal message that speaks to you, that helps you, that inspires you, and encourages you when you might need a pick-me-up. So imagine Avram and Sarah. They're such kind and giving people. They go out of their way to spread their kindness. And at this point, Avram's 99 years old, Sarah is 89 years old, and Avram's been told a few times by Hashem that he's going to be blessed with loads of descendants. But the years pass by. A month after the disappointing month, Sarah's still not pregnant. And I'm sure they've wondered, how is this bracha going to materialize? How are we going to have these children? And they try different things. They try adoption through Lot, their nephew. They try surrogacy through Hagar and Yishmael. They think at one point it might be through Abraham's manservant Eliezer that they're going to have descendants. They never stop trying, and they never lose hope. But even they, with their one-on-one relationship with Hashem, with the power of Nevuah that they both had, they don't have a clue what Hashem has in store for them. They never dream at age 90 and 100 that they're going to have a baby. And then finally, it's the grand reveal, and Michael whips out a cardboard box with a blue balloon, and finally Avram and Sarah are told that it will be an actual biological child of both of theirs, not a metaphorical one, or an adopted one, or a close relative, but an actual child would really be theirs. But rather than tell them himself, even though he's standing right there, Hashem sent angels disguised as men. So why does he do this? So I think the reason he does this is so that Hashem can tell you, the reader, reading it 3,500 years later, that you won't always know what the plan is. You might think that you know, but you actually haven't got a clue. You might think it's all going wrong or it's not how you planned it out, but actually you never knew what the plan was to begin with. And even though Hashem is standing right there next to you in the room, at a time when you think that all is lost, he might not speak to you directly. He might send you messages through what look like ordinary people you come across. It might be your friend, your spouse, your parents, your children, and they might tell you exactly what you need to hear if you're listening carefully to the messages. Hayepale me Hashem dava is what Hashem says. Is anything too wondrous for Hashem? There's nothing he can't do. Of course a menopausal 90-year-old woman can't spontaneously give birth, but do you think that's going to stop Hashem? The same 1 in a billion chance that allowed Sarah to give birth to Yitzchak is really the same 1 in a billion chance that allows natural conception to happen every day. It's just Hashem. He's disguised it as nature, but really it's Hashem. What are the odds that the right conditions and the right timing, everything works out so perfectly so that each of your children came into existence with you as their parents, with their unique combination of DNA that makes each of them who they are? It was meant to be, so Hashem made it so. So anything you want, anything you need, just remember Hashem's in the room with you. He's listening in and he can make it happen. It's easy. It's literally like nothing for him. He says it himself, nothing is too wondrous for him. All you have to do is ask. Have a good week and a good Shabbos.